Hey guys, Bowson Ramos, and this Sunday, November 6th, Miami Dolphins will be facing the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Dolphins are 5-3, 2-2 away. Meanwhile, Chicago is 3-5, 2-1 at home, so pretty good for the Bears. But currently not favored to win. Currently, Miami Dolphins are favored 66.6% to Chicago Bears 33.1, tie at point 0.4. Spread is at 4.5 for the Miami Dolphins, minus 4.5, plus 4.5 for the Chicago Bears. Money line 210, minus 210 for the Dolphins, plus 175 for the Bears. Over under set at 45.5. Kickoff will be at noon Chicago time and 1 p.m. Eastern. The weather will be about 52 degrees, so a little chilly, but definitely some wind chill will be into factor there. Currently raining right now. And yes, I am in Chicago to watch the game, so very excited for that. Some injuries for the Dolphins. We have safety Eric Rowe, questionable with a hip injury. Jalen Phillips, linebacker, questionable with quadriceps injury. River Craycraft, wide receiver, out, just has an illness. Austin Jackson, guard, off of the injured reserve, but listed as doubtful. We have Tanner Conner, tight end, questionable. Teron Armstead, offensive tackle, questionable. Heard rumors that it might be an Achilles injury. Hopefully, something because remember he's been dealing with a toe injury. So if it continues, it starts going up like an Achilles injury, it can just start just spreading like wildfire. Next thing you know, it's injury, knee injury, then hip injury. Then who knows? This is still from November 1st. Liam Eichenberg, offensive tackle, is on injured reserve off of a knee injury. And then Byron Jones, cornerback, is listed as out with Achilles. And I believe that puts him at ineligible to play for the Dolphins this season, if I'm not mistaken. He started off on PUP, physically unable to perform. Then he's just been listed as out every single game. Not sure what to say. Pretty sure he becomes ineligible to play for the Dolphins moving forward. But aside from that, those are the injuries for the Dolphins. Now, when we look at the Bears injuries, they have Ja'Terry Carter, guard. He is questionable. And Lucas Patrick, guard, injured reserve with a toe injury. Byron Pringle, wide receiver, injured reserve with a calf injury. Matthew Adams, linebacker, calf injury, injured reserve. Jalen Johnson, cornerback, out with a quadriceps injury. And everyone else has been injured since training camp. So, a few things to talk about for both teams. Both teams were very active at the trade deadline. The Miami Dolphins brought in Bradley Chubb from the Denver Broncos, outside linebacker, more of a rushing type of linebacker. Very good on their end. Hopefully everything pays off well. They extended him to, I believe, a 5-year, $163 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. So, sent out one of the first-round picks that has been a talk of the town of from the Laramie Tunsil trade that turned into the San Francisco trade now to the trade that netted the Dolphins trading back into the first round for Jalen Waddle, trading for Tyreek Hill, and trading for Bradley Chubb. So pretty big moves just off of those single trades. Love to see it. Turns into 3 big players. Jalen Waddle has developed into quite the player, and then on top of that, you also have Tyreek Hill just being an absolute beast. And then last but not least, now we have Bradley Chubb, who hasn't played a single down yet for the Miami Dolphins, but is expected to play Sunday. So very hyped to see him debut as well with Jeff Wilson. Don't want to leave him in the dark there. But the Chicago Bears also did make some moves. They got rid of Robert Quinn a little bit before the deadline, and then Roquan Smith, their pretty much star linebacker, shipped him out of town. Then, with that being said, out of pretty much almost the last minute, they brought in Chase Claypool from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's pretty good for them. They've been complaining they need weapons on offense. I think Claypool is one of those guys that could fit very well in the Chicago team. Just depends on how everything goes. Now, with that being said, let's talk about some of the team stats from so far this year. Dolphins are averaging 22 points per game. Meanwhile, Chicago is averaging 19. Points allowed, Dolphins are allowing 24. Meanwhile, the Bears are allowing 22. Total yards per game offensively, Dolphins have the edge here with 395. Meanwhile, the Bears 338. Yards passing is where it's a huge landslide, but same on the opposite end for rushing. Dolphins have 306 per game passing, meanwhile the Bears have 150. But yards rushing, Dolphins are averaging about 88, meanwhile the Bears are averaging 188. So over 100 on that one. Pretty big difference, especially in the rushing game. Now defensively, yards allowed, Bears are actually looking a lot better with 354 average. Meanwhile, Dolphins are averaging 376. 275 on the air for the Dolphins allowed defensively, 198 for the Bears. And then on top of that, yards allowed rushing, 100 for the Dolphins, 156 for the Bears. So that's the thing that you kind of notice about this Bears team. They can run all over you, and you're going to be able to run all over them. It's a young defense, pretty fast, could get to the ball. They've looked pretty good in some of their games this season. Defense, as Chris has alluded to plenty of times in the podcast, has kept them in games. And I agree with that because they almost had the chance in the Minnesota game, lost 29-22. Lost by one possession to the New York Giants, 20-12. Won in New England mostly because of their defense against the Washington Commanders, 12-7. And then the Dallas game was just, I don't know what that was. That was a crazy game. Anyways, this Bears team is tough. But something that we've noticed all year long is that Justin Fields has been getting tons and tons of pressure in the backfield when he goes to pass. Sometimes he's able to elude it. Sometimes he's just getting sacked in the backfield. And looks pretty bad for the most part. Don't want him to get hurt, but I definitely want the Dolphins to apply that pressure because that's something that they've been lacking. And this is why I make it a point each and every week. Get pressure on the quarterback. Get pressure on the quarterback because the Dolphins have not been able to do that all season long. You can get a sack here and there each game, but this pass rush should be getting to the quarterback a lot more and bringing them down especially. So want to see a lot more of that because this is not where the defense has been in recent years, and it's not where it could be. I feel like this Dolphins defense could be light years ahead of where they should be currently. With that being said, offensively, just need to protect Tua. Field might be a little bit sloppy because it's raining right now. It might be raining during the game. Who knows if this is Windy City weather, but anywho, just protect Tua. Do not allow him to take big hits. This Bears defense is young and fast, and they will be able to get to the quarterback. So, if we can limit that and try to establish a run game once more, just each and every week, just try to establish more and more of a run game, that'll be better. Because right now, averaging 88 yards per game rushing is not good. But at the same time, Dolphins are lighting it up in the passing game, averaging over 300 yards a game. So, and that's with Tua being out a couple games. So, Teddy and Skyler have been able to throw the ball around in Tua's absence. With that being said, that's pretty much wraps up the game preview. In terms of post-game review, not sure entirely what's going to be going on there, if I'm going to try to release it immediately following the game, or if I'm going to do a similar shot like this, or if it may be when I finally get back home after the game on Sunday. Got to find out when it releases, but aside from that, appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.